Hello there, and welcome to the How to Market Your Horse Business podcast. I am so glad you're joining me here today. Just in case we're new friends, I'm going to quickly introduce myself, and then we will get right to our new guest and friend, Venessa Wood, that I cannot wait for you to meet. But for now, as I said very quickly, my name is Denise Alvarez, and through my business, Storm Lily Marketing, I get to help dream-chasing horse business owners to clear the marketing fog so they can take strategic, intentional steps to build their business with clarity, with confidence, and with purpose. Now, I do this primarily through business coaching and then through education, such as this podcast, and I have some online learning resources for you also. But all that I do, friends, is so that you, as an equestrian entrepreneur, can be out in the barn or the arena doing what it is that you love most. Now, I know that that's a quick snapshot. Typically, I say out in the barn, in the arena, behind the camera lens, at the computer, at your workshop, wherever it is that you're serving the equine industry. Truly, my heart is to help you do more of that. So here on this podcast in particular, you can always expect a mix of step-by-step strategies, essential how-tos, and entrepreneurial mindset shifts that will help you not only see what's possible for your business, but I'm also here to guide you through that process so you can make it happen. And today we're doing that by way of introducing you to Venessa Wood. Now, as you all know, I love to focus in on the heart of why you do what you do. And so you are going to, for sure, hear Venessa's heart in this conversation. She's going to share the real practical lessons that she has learned while growing Ag Women Connect. Now, while you are in the ag industry generally if you're in the equine business, but I know, of course, ag is often the farming and ranch side of things in our minds too. So what I want you to know is that she's also a horse girl. She gets you and the horse business side of things too. And so what she has to share 100% applies to every one of my listeners, no matter where or how you are serving the ag or equine industry. Okay. We're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about being the founder. We're going to talk about some boundaries and truly some really practical things that you can take and apply as you build and grow your own business. All right. Now, if you're new here, you may not know, you can get the highlights of this conversation over on my website. So if you go to stormlily.com/206 for episode 206, I will have the links there, of course, to where you can connect to Venessa and see what they are doing over at Ag Women Connect. And then I also will have the highlights of this conversation. So if you are listening as you're driving or mucking stalls or doing whatever chores you happen to be doing at the moment, please know that you can visit my website anytime and I'll have the highlights there. So in case there's something that you're like, oh, I wish I would have remembered, I want to remember what she said or what that takeaway was, I've got that there for you. Okay? All right, friends, without further ado, I would love to introduce you to Venessa Wood with Ag Women Connect. Here you go. Okay, Venessa, thank you so much for joining me here for this gift of time. I am so grateful that you're here and glad to meet you.
Well, thank you so much for reaching out, and I'm excited to be here and talk.
Yeah, as I was telling you, I actually am walking in a bit blind to your journey. Truly, I've seen a little bit of what I've read online, but that's about it. So I'm excited for this first question because, of course, I know I found you through Ag Women Connect, but that's a piece and part of your story and what you do. So tell us a bit about your background and how you were into horses and ag and ranching and all of that, and how that led to what you're doing now with Ag Women Connect.
Okay, perfect. So I'll try to keep this as short as possible.
You're good.
I'll ask
I
the same
typically preface it.
question.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
big question. I know some interviews are all about that one question. So
yeah.
fully aware it's a big question. So take your time. Don't feel like you have to speed through it.
Okay. Long story short, I am from the panhandle of Texas. So I grew up in Plainview as a farmer's daughter, fourth generation. And the horse bug bit me pretty early. So he bought my dad bought my first horse. He came all the way from Ohio, a beautiful Tobiano. And yeah, I just fell in love with horses and knew that they would always be a part of my life. And so I got super involved in 4 H and FFA. I'm sure that's no surprise to anybody that's in the ag industry.
Uh-huh.
But the whole horse industry was new to us because, well, I mean, we were more on the farming side, and, we did have cattle. We've always had, anywhere from 50 to 100 head. So, and that was something that we were learning as well. But, I got really involved on the horse judging side and, ended up going to Clarendon College, which is a farming and ranching 2-year school, just east of Amarillo, and had a blast there. And then I got recruited into Texas Tech to go judge for them. And we also started the first ranch horse team in America, which I think was awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so now there's, several colleges that have ranch horse teams, but it originated, when I went there with Chris Wilson, who he's now passed away, but it was really neat to be a part of that, and, I'm still really good friends with his wife. She actually came and spoke at our conference this October, and so, it's awesome to just think about all of those agriculture ties that I've had for 20, 30 years, and, we still talk and still support one another. So, um, that's my background. But you asked, how did Ag Women Connect come? And this was something that I prayed for a very long time. I knew Denise as a little girl that I had the entrepreneurial mind. I mean, I came from entrepreneurial parents. I knew that I wasn't gonna fit into the 8 to 5 mold, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? But I just knew I was going to be leading women in some form or fashion. And so after I got married and, had my first child, and then my second child, I've I stayed at home because that was something that was very important to my husband and I. And so I had to find ways to support, financially, our household. And so I kinda dabbled in some home-based businesses and some part-time jobs, and I did really well with those, but I just knew that I was scratching the surface, right? God was putting me in those leadership positions, and it's really cool to look back and say, "Okay, I knew what you were doing there." And so I just continued to pray because I knew that I had a purpose beyond being a wife and mother. I mean, obviously, that's number 1, but I knew that there was just something in that horizon, and I couldn't quite grasp it, and so I just kept being obedient. I kept praying, and then, I remember the day where I was in my room. It was, June in 2021, and, in the summer, obviously, I mean, we're all a little bit more active, and, I always try to get an hour of walking in a day, and so I was getting ready for that walk, and I heard him. I mean, there's no doubt that I heard him, and he was like, "You need to create a network for women in agriculture so they can be heard." And I knew nothing about starting a business of my own, but I was obedient to him, and I just felt excited and peaceful all at the same time, and I was like, "This is it." And so I was lucky enough to or fortunate enough to have friends who supported the idea from the very beginning, and they knew how to start a business, and so, I leaned on them for advice and some mentorship, and we got this thing rolling. So, that's kinda how it all came together, and, we've just been able to build upon that idea, and we're still building onto that idea, which is really fun, right? There's no mold that I have to follow, or rules that I have to follow when you own your own business, and so I love the creative side of Ag Women Connect, and I love connecting with others, and, it truly gives women a chance to, 1, be heard, 2, be connected with others, but also, like, it's invigorating to listen to all the visionaries as well in the agriculture industry.
Yes, yes, I love that so much. There's so many pieces and parts of that too, Vanessa, that I'm like, "Oh, I just know that those listening can identify with." Like, that idea of preparation is
Mhm.
so true. There's so many of us who, whether we grew up entrepreneurial or not, get to that point where you're like, "Okay, God was preparing me. This was a time that I had no idea what was going on, but he knew, and now look where I am." And so I love that so very much. So tell us a bit when you talk about what for those that are listening that don't know what Ag Women Connect is. So clearly it's a place for networking. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like as a business. What does the business look like?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you asked that question because some people say, "Oh, it's just another networking group," but oh my goodness, Denise, we're so much more than that. Um, of course, like the relationships and the friendships that we build within Ag Women Connect, that will always be the glue of the company. Without that, I mean, we wouldn't be anything, right? And I think now more than ever, something that COVID, taught us, and just I feel just a shift in this world where women, I mean, it's biblical. Like women need that connection, and so I just want to say to everybody out there, don't don't ever, what's the word that I'm looking for? Don't ever take that for granted, right?
Mm,
Because it's something that we all need to thrive. So the networking part, usually comes through the chapters, right? Or
okay.
social media. So, um, the chapters have been very integral into, the growth of Ag Women Connect, and this is where I've handed over leadership in other parts of the country, right? Other parts of the United States where women can step into their roles of agriculture and, uh, recognize and support their community. So if you think about it, like Texas looks very different from Florida, and Florida looks very different from Kansas, and all the way across the United States. And I'm not a stickler as far as like what you can and cannot do, as long as you are giving back, as long as you're bringing people together and focusing on agriculture in your area. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for those type of women that want to say like, look, I want to be a part of my community. I want to be a part of something um, that can give back. And so the chapters have been huge. And then we were very blessed to link in with rural radio and our podcast. So we record every Tuesday, and the members who come into Ag Women Connect, if they want a podcast, which most of them do, right? That's a way for me to shine the light back on them, for me to interview them, and in more cases than not, Denise, a lot of these women do have businesses.
Mm,
Um, or they have a vision that they want to talk about. And so not only does this go on the radio, but it also goes on all major podcasting platforms. And so we record those weekly and we send those out. Um, so the podcast has been a huge learning curve because I knew nothing about that, honestly. But our Texas Ag Commissioner, I'm good friends with, he helped me out with that, and also some friends over at the Cowboy and the Cowgirl channel. It all just kind of happened at once, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing a podcast now.
uh-huh.
Let me just learn how to be an expert in about 3 weeks.
Right? Yeah, that's so good. So you guys
Yeah,
have chapters. Are they by state, by region? How
a
do you have
little
your
bit of
chapters?
both. Yeah,
Okay.
a little bit of both. So we have 5 chapters in Texas, I believe.
Okay.
And then we've got 2 in Oklahoma, and then some of the other ones are just state chapters.
Okay.
So I also like to touch on current issues within agriculture, and so a lot of that information is posted on our blog and through our social media.
Okay.
We have events through our chapters, like tours. We're about to go tour the new 4 Sixes Stallion Ranch, and I'm super excited about that. We're going to do that this weekend. And then we have our conference and our gala every year too. So there's a ton of things to be a part of. Earlier this morning, we just had coffee chat, which no matter where you're at in the United States, if you want to hop on that once a month, we get together and we just talk about life and check in on one another to start the month. So, um, yeah, there's a lot included in the Ag Women Connect. If you
Yeah.
become a member, you get a free T-shirt and um, you're able to get some discounts, and then we also have a business directory that I'm really trying to focus on, Denise, because, the more and more I talk to women in ag, we're all trying to find ways where we could supplement our income, and so that means a lot of these women are starting their own businesses, and so we're putting that directory together so we can promote their business as well.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I love getting a good understanding of like what general it's a membership. So for those listening, it's a membership in a community and an education piece it looks like. And I
Mhm.
love the idea of tours. So
Yeah.
former life, again, preparation and things. I worked for a chocolate and candy association. So
Oh,
just like, you have associations for beef and cattle and all those things,
yeah.
like chocolate and candy makers have an association. And so at our events and our annual conference and our regional events, that was one of the best things that we did was tours of member candy stores and factories and things like that. And people, it was just such a beautiful community of learning from one another. So that's what it reminds me of when you say that is going on those
Yeah,
tours. There is such an opportunity for connection and learning. So I'm such a fan. I love that.
for sure.
So tell me then, Vanessa, obviously you're like, wow, 5 years, your 5 year anniversary is going to be this year.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
fun. So leaning into that in the past 5 years, of course, like any business, I am sure has had ups and downs, challenges and bumps along the way as you laugh in agreement.
Mhm.
I would love for you to share with us some of the things that maybe surprised you or challenged you over these past
Mhm.
5 years as you have built out Ag Women Connect.
Okay, for sure. So, right off the bat, I love this question because, yeah, people definitely need to hear this. Because starting a business is not for the faint heart, and you've really got to lean into your faith. And one thing that Ag Women Connect has taught me is, or brought me to, it has strengthened my relationship with God. And I get emotional when I talk about this because there are things that I have faced that there's no way that it would have worked out if I didn't have that relationship with God. And there's things like beyond our control, obviously. So, um, using that discernment, and that's what I'll say is like there's things that we can control, and for everything else, which is a lot, and I know this just being from the agriculture industry, and I'm probably speaking on behalf of most women in agriculture. We're a little bit of control freaks. A lot of us are that A type personality, right? We're go getters, and I've had to learn to just let go of a lot of things that I can't control, and it always ends up working out in the long run. But going into my first year, so I did have a business partner, with somebody that, I still hold a special place in my heart with, but it Ag Women Connect was not forming into, it was not going into a positive direction. It was kinda we were going in a way that I did not envision. And, I had to make a decision, about 7 months into it, Denise, if I was, eh, what this was gonna do to our friendship if I decided to either walk away from it or, have the courage to just say like, "Hey, this is not what I envisioned for Ag Women Connect. Would would you consider putting this in my name and just let me take full charge?" And so again, it was one of those moments I remember where I was when I
Mhm.
had the courage to ask for the company back 100% because I had so much more that I wanted to do with Ag Women Connect, and I didn't wanna feel like I was walking on eggshells the whole time, and that's really what it came down to, and like I said, I have nothing bad to say about this woman. It's just, God had put us on different paths, and, so, luckily, she said yes, and I think she was kinda, feeling some friction there too, and so we decided to kinda go our separate ways, and I relaunched Ag Women Connect with a beautiful website and, with a new attitude in April of 2022. And so that's when things really started to open up. Opportunities started to flow in, but it was just a new change of energy, and I think people felt and saw that. And so I just want to say to anyone out there that has to make those difficult decisions, especially when it's with your friends, or if you're afraid of running a relationship, or it just sometimes just life gets sticky. I would just say pray about it, and, do what you have to do to make your dream come true, right? So if I wouldn't have had the courage, or if I would have backed down, then Ag Women Connect never would have gone anywhere, right? So, that one right there, was difficult. And, putting on these events is also something that's not for the faint heart. Um, we've been able to put on 3 galas now and 2 conferences, and I've learned a lot. And if you've ever done any kind of event planning, there's just tons of variables and things change all the time. Like this last conference, we had 2 speakers pull out at the very last minute, and one of the speakers was our what was the main speaker, the speaker that we had been promoting for 6 months. But,
Mhm.
she had a family emergency, so again, like, no shade there, it's just sometimes life happens, and you have to be able to pivot. And so I really wanna brag on my team, because it's not just me and Ag Women Connects. I have an amazing team. I have women who volunteer their time, and then I have 3 very good friends who are also employees of Ag Women Connect. And so, uh, I lean on them pretty heavily too, and, this is all something that we believe in. And so, there's with building a company, I couldn't have done it without them. I couldn't have done it without my relationship with the Lord, and last but not least, but my husband and my kids. And my husband is just he's incredible. So he's always supporting me, and he's my rock. And sometimes my visionary mind just kind of gets a little bit out there, and he's the one who kind of brings me in, and talks things out. And he's pretty level-headed. So, yeah, it's been a journey for sure, but, it's made me into the person I am today, and no regrets.
Yeah, I love that 100%. And I know that those listening, like whether they started with a partner or not, can, as you said, identify with the fact that at any stage and season of your business, you're going to reach times where it's like, am I going to make this courageous decision that
Mhm.
truly could be a game changer and can be the thing that helps me to move forward with what I envision, or the thing that holds me back if I don't do it? So I love that you
Yeah.
spoke into that, and the courage that it takes to do those things is it matters. It matters greatly and makes a big difference as you build things out. So, of course, this is the How to Market Your Horse Business podcast. So I have to ask specifically about marketing. And I'm enamored because clearly, yes, it's that where you hold in both hands, right? That God's hand is clearly on it, and you've done a ton of work to get here, and how both go together. And so
Mhm.
as you look at, 3, 4 years, how things have grown, of course, I'm sure a piece of that has been marketing. So tell
Mhm.
me about what that looks like for you. Did it come naturally to you to learn the marketing piece? I don't think you said what you studied in college. It was an ag program, but I don't know if it was specific to the business side. But as you learned the marketing pieces, tell me about what that process has looked like for you.
Yeah, so I graduated in ag leadership. So I did take a marketing class. Uh, but so through this journey, I've been able to meet some incredible women off of Instagram and Facebook. And I got a call one day from a woman. I think Crystal found me on Instagram, but she's from Florida. And she didn't necessarily grow up in agriculture, but she's just like, you know what? I joined Ag Women Connect. I really want to learn more about this industry. She was having some health problems, and so a lot of her interests were in where does our food come from, right?
Yeah.
And so she had had some experience in marketing, and I ended up bringing her on to help me with my marketing. And so there's Crystal, Mandy, and Krista, the 3 girls that, I work with, and then me, and so we have several conversations throughout the year and throughout the week, like, we plan out what we want to post, and, that it changes, like, in the very beginning, Denise, like, our colors were, like, bright pink and green, and, um it was really I mean, I love the colors, and we still have pink and green, but I felt like people weren't taking us seriously enough, especially when it came to, like, ag issues, and I was like, "You know what? Let's kinda shift some of these colors and see what that does." And so, like, we've made tweaks, we talk a lot about, like, what we wanna promote. Of course, when we have our events, we wanna make sure that we're promoting our speakers in the event. We're about to have an online workshop coming up in February, so we're going to start promoting that. We also promote, obviously, our members that come in, and so they get a biography, and we want to make sure they get that recognition. And then one thing that we always stand strong on, Denise, is that we are a Christian-based company, and so we post a scripture and something about our journey with God on every Tuesday. So um and then usually on Fridays we kind of go back and forth, like if there's an important issue that Brooke Rollins, our Secretary of Ag, is working on, or um if there's like the new world screw worm, that's been kind of a hot topic, or even this EHV, that with the horses, we talked about that. So I really lean on the experts in our industry that know about these topics before we put them out there, because we want to make sure that what we're putting out there is not misinformation and not biased as well. So we're very cautious of that. But that's it's a big moving part, the marketing part is. And so we're
Mhm.
always tweaking and refining and just listening to like what our members and what our network is craving.
Mm. Tell me this, I'm curious, when you look at the membership and how it has grown, what has been, do you feel, the big, or maybe you know this from your data, like the biggest lead generator for you guys? Like, what's been the thing that really has brought in the most members? Is it a
I
certain channel or platform or source?
Yeah, I would say our social media for
Okay.
sure.
Mhm.
LinkedIn has been a huge, huge game changers for us because people are more business minded. And when you look at those memberships, you could totally write your membership off for advertising, which I think is a no brainer. Um, there's people who spend thousands and thousands of dollars on advertising a year, and I feel like with us providing the podcast and the radio show, and then you just get so much out of it. Um, I would say that a lot of people, pick up on that through our social media. So, but I've also been getting calls too from our rural radio segments on the weekends because they air twice. And so that's been really fun too, because that's a really diverse network. And I'm so sad because we don't really I don't get numbers back on that. I know that there's 30 million people who listen to XM, uh, XM 140 or Sirius XM, and so I would say probably anywhere from 10 to 20,000 listen to rural radio. If I usually take like 10% of that. So, but I could be off, but I don't know. I'm just not. They don't send me those numbers, and that's just not the way they work. But it's been really cool to hear from the older generation, because that's, they're more into tune on the radio, which I think is awesome, and so I get emails from them, and that's pretty
Mhm.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. That's so good. I like that. Okay, I have one last question for you. So, and you've already shared some really good advice for those listening. If you were hanging out with a fellow entrepreneur in the equine space, talking about building a business specific to this idea of building one that meets your definition of success. So, we haven't talked about this yet between us, but one of the key things that I talk about on the podcast is success is subjective. So, what looks
Mhm,
like success for you as you build Women Connect could be very different from those listening. But it
mhm.
all matters,
Yeah, it
and
does.
sometimes it's numbers, and sometimes it's feelings, and it all goes together. But just when you think about building a business that meets your version of success, what
Mhm.
are 3 to 5 lessons that you would share, or things to know that you would share, given what you've experienced so far in building out your business? And even if you stretch back honestly into, I didn't know you did some of the direct to consumer, or home retail,
Mhm.
home business type thing. Like, I'm sure some of that success applies to what you've been doing now. But yeah, share some of those lessons learned and experiences with us.
Okay, yeah. So, so you're asking, like, just lessons I've learned through building
Mhm.
this? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Mhm.
Um, I would say something that I'm working on this year, um, I'm about to be 42, and, I have made sure that, gosh, there's a lot in what I'm about to say, so I'm trying to break it down. 1, you have to go get involved, please. Like, if you wanna make a difference, if you wanna grow, I have grown so much intellectually, spiritually, mentally, emotionally in these last 5 years, but it's because I choose to surround myself with others who are either, 1, been where I want to be, right? I'm always seeking that mentorship. I'm always thinking about how can I do things better. Um, but if, but surrounding myself with godly women too. Um, so one thing I've done that has specifically helped Ag Women Connect is, like, I'm not just involved in Ag Women Connect. And I think this is so profound is people get so laser focused on just one group or one thing that it's kinda like having tunnel vision, right? And so
Mhm.
I know what that feels like, and I've been, I wouldn't say trapped, I don't think that's the right word either, but I just feel like when you're able to move in and out of different circles and different networks, it gives you a different perspective.
Mm.
It helps you be more compassionate, it gives you more grace. You just look at things, a little bit different, and, that's really helps me, and so I'm involved in, my community, I'm involved in politics, um, and that was something that was super scary to me, but I'm telling you, like, it is these some of these other women that I have surrounded myself with, they have helped me with my journey, with the Lord, not only in Ag Women Connect, but these other organizations. I've seen the inner works of how they run their organizations, um, and I've learned through that, like, what I do and what I don't want for Ag Women Connect. So, don't be afraid, please don't be afraid to diversify. I know how scary that can be, and I was one of those who showed up by myself, and, so when women come to me, Denise, and say, like, I got several emails, for our conference of women who wanted to come, but they were so afraid to come by themselves. And I was like,
Yeah.
"I'm so glad that you reached out to me because you are welcome." And I made sure that they sat by or sat with a table of women that I knew that would just welcome them with open arms, and they had the best time. And, so that's one huge nugget. The other one is you don't have to tell everybody what you're doing all the time. And I feel like, especially me coming from a home based business from a network marketing background for a few years, I felt like I had to be on all the time, always posting, always sharing. And I am, like, done with that. I'm 42 now, and I know my priorities in life. I know where I want to spend my time. I know where my headspace needs to be. And so, like, perfect example, yesterday was my 19th anniversary with my husband, and, it was by far the best anniversary we've had in the 20 years we've been together, and I wanted to soak in every moment of that. And so there was things on my list that I wanted to do yesterday with no distractions. And one of those was not getting on Facebook, spending an hour making a post about our 19th anniversary. And but yeah, I felt like that was probably expected, from people. And I just had to let that go. And I told my husband because he made his post, and I said, look, I said, "I've been thinking about this all day." And I was like, "But, there's 3 things in work that I had to get done yesterday." And then I made his favorite meal, which was, chicken fried venison. And so, I had to go to the grocery store, I had to get all that done, and I was like, "That is more important than getting on Facebook and making a post." And I was like, "I will make a post, but it has to be I have to be in the right headspace for that." So don't be afraid to just do what you need to do and stop worrying about what other people are expecting you to do. Um, that's a huge thing for me. And you got to let go of what you think other people are thinking of you. That's and I know that's so much easier said than done, but I promise when you walk with the Lord, um, and you make him your focus every day, then it's easier to drown out those distractions, Denise, right? It's easier to drown out those opinions. Like, what other people think about you is not our business, right? If it was, oh my gosh, we would be a freaking mess.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And usually, hey, when you step in that leadership role, girl, you're going to be scrutinized. You're going to be on that pedestal and people are going to throw rocks. Like, that's just the way it is. So,
Mhm.
love your people who love you. And sometimes not everybody who is for you is that right? No, not sometimes everybody who is with you is not for you. And that was something else I kind of wanted to say in that last segment is like, man, that's kind of hit me in the face a few times. But hey, God puts people in our life for a reason, and He also moves them out for a reason. Trust that. Don't go back. Don't second guess it. You gotta be okay with it, and, it and you're in the position you are in your life today. Where you are in your life today is exactly where God wants you to be, so lean into that.
So that's so good. There's so many things within that, Vanessa. I'm like, okay, could we sit and chat for a while? But I love that. And I was making notes so that I can make sure that my notes from the podcast have good reference points. And I really appreciate both of those actually, of getting involved and, not even just that you don't have to tell all the time, but give yourself permission and freedom.
Yes.
Um, to do, and that goes back to that idea of knowing what success means to you. Because when
Mhm.
you do, right, for your example, even what success meant to you on your anniversary day was not, did I do a perfect Facebook post for everybody to see? That wasn't
Mm.
your version of success. And so you were able to make a clear decision based on that. And
Mhm.
so when we have that clear definition of what success is, what means the most to us, what matters the most to us in a certain season capacity and honoring those things, then we have the clarity, then we have the permission and we have the freedom, and it is so much more enjoyable, right?
Oh my
You have to
goodness.
do
Yes.
the hard work in order to get to that
Mhm.
place, but
Mm.
yeah, it's
Oh
so
my
much more
goodness.
enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I even make New Year's resolutions, and I think my whole team was kinda on there with us too, and that's what I told them on coffee chat today. I was like, "Look, it you don't have to rewire your brain or create or stop a new habit on New Year's Eve, or New Year's. You can do that any time of your life. And if you're truly
Mhm. Yeah.
growing, if you're truly wanting to get clarity in your life, like you have to be up for that challenge all the time, not
Mm,
just at the beginning of the year, right?
that's a good word. Yeah, that's so very true. Absolutely. I love that. Oh, so good, Vanessa. I'm so grateful. I know that you're a treasure and that your community has been so blessed by getting to be in under your leadership. And I just appreciate that so much. Before we go, is there anything else, any last parting advice that you would like to leave for my listeners of equine entrepreneurs?
Mm. Well, first of all, I just love the equine entrepreneurs. I love that. I have so many friends that are, well, Mandy that I just got off the Zoom with. She's a barrel racer, and she's got a 3-year-old now, and so when I think she got back on within her first year of having Ivy, and I was so proud of her to get back into the saddle, and she's working with what she has, and she's making the best of it. And so I'm going to kind of take her example and just say, just get back in the saddle. Like if you've gone through a season that you've needed to take some time for yourself, like please do. Or if you're coming into that, please do. But I think we all know one of the quickest ways to get back to ourselves is to get back in the saddle and spend some time with your horses. And that's something I'm looking forward to. I have a 2-year-old right now. He's just had his 4th ride, and my husband's been working with him, and I have been too, but not in his capacity. But that's something I'm looking forward to. I've kind of been in a season where I haven't ridden so much, and that's not the normal for me. But I've been okay with that because the other 2 horses are geriatric, and we're about to hop into a season. My son's wanting to ride more, and so we're probably going to buy him a new horse. So we're getting back at it, but just get back in the saddle, and things don't have to be perfect for you to be successful. So just remember that, and that's the way that I've treated Ag Women Connect this whole entire time. I don't try to worry about everything being a certain way. Just do it. I mean, I know that sounds so cliche, but we just got to let go of a lot that's in our head and just go out there and ride it out.
That's so good. What a good analogy. I love that. That's the perfect closing. So good. Thank you so much, Vanessa. All right, before we go, tell everyone where they can find and connect with you online. You can do both if you're like, find me personally, or if you just want to send them to Ag Women Connect, whatever feels good to you is fine.
Yeah. Well, my personal email is adwomenconnect@gmail.com. And I check it. That is one thing that I'm like, I am on every day is I check my email. So if you email me, I will respond. And then you can check us out on all of our social media. On LinkedIn, I'm Venessa Joy, and it's Venessa Joy. And you can also go to our website at agwomenconnect.com. It's pretty easy. Yeah.
Perfect. Yep. And I'll put all that in the show notes too. But for those that are listening that are pulling out their phone, then they can easily find you and get connected with you. Thank you again. I am so cheering for you. Congratulations on almost 5 years. That's a really
You.
big deal. And I'm super excited to see what God has in store for this year.
Thank you, Denise. This was awesome.
All right. I am sure by now you know exactly why I titled this podcast episode the way that I did. Because while Venessa has a beautiful mind for business and so much great insight on that, the heart behind what she's done is a calling and a mission. And I know that is true for so many of you all as well. And the truth is that building a mission-driven equine business is not just about being louder or doing what everyone else is doing. 100%, you need to be surrounding yourself with the right people and aligning your actions with what you hold true for yourself, your values, and your business. And so I hope that that's one of the takeaways out of the many that you're walking away from with this conversation with Venessa, because 100% for me, that was one of my big ones. And while I have a mission and a heart behind what I do here with Storm Lily Marketing, I also am in the process of building out Storm Lily Ranch, which is the nonprofit side of the heart of what I do. And so both are mission aligned and mission driven. And so when we can make decisions for our businesses based on that, then your audience is going to know it, they're going to feel it, and they're going to be more connected to you. And truly, it can be more strategic when you do it that way. As I work with coaching clients, that's where we start is what is the heart behind your business? What does success truly look like? And then let's make some intentional strategic decisions for you based on that. Okay. So, of course, having a mindset of knowing what works and knowing strategies and all of that, bringing that into coaching is what I do. But we start with you. We start with your heart and your calling and your mission and your purpose. And so I hope this encourages you in that. And of course, if as you've heard me talk about that or heard me talk about coaching over time and you've thought, oh, I wonder what it is that she does or how I could work with her, please know I would love to chat with you anytime to talk about how coaching may be a fit for you. I have some one-on-one coaching options. I have a small group coaching program. And then I have a 60-minute clarity coaching call. So if you're saying, I don't think I need ongoing coaching right now, but it sure would be good to talk to someone about just the strategy behind a launch that's coming up or behind my email or my social media or the decision I'm making around my website, please know I'd be happy to do a 60-minute clarity coaching call with you as well. So if you just head to the website, stormlily.com, you will find information on all three of those options and an option to just book a 15-minute chat and see what's a good fit for you. Okay, so please feel free to do that. I'm so glad you've joined me here. As a reminder, the links to connect with Venessa are on my website for the show notes. So just go to stormlily.com/206. And if you enjoyed this episode and if you were encouraged by it and by Venessa, please do reach out and let her know. Oftentimes podcast guests are so generous with their time, and then I get to hear from you guys what's been helpful, but they may not. So please feel free to reach out and connect with her and tell her that you met her here and appreciated her sharing. All right, friends, thanks again, as always, for being here, and subscribe because I have continually new episodes coming out for you every week, and I don't want you to miss it. All right, have an awesome day. I'll see you back here soon.